Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday night. Welcome to Baking 201, week 7. And as we say before, we are rocking and rolling. Time is flying by. I can't believe class is almost over. So tonight we are making a German chocolate cake with a coconut pecan topping and chocolate buttercream. So go ahead and set your ovens to 350 and get your sink started. 350 over there. Okay. That feels like that's not gonna stay. We'll see. We'll see once we get going. Okay. Hope you got your mise en place ready. So let's go over that really quick. I'll just bring the camera down. So I've got 2 trays here, and we'll just go ahead and list out. So you should have 4 ounces of semi-sweet or German sweet chocolate, either chopped or morsels, 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of granulated sugar. Where's my butter? Half a cup of softened butter, half a cup of sour cream, 2 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Trying to make sure my sink didn't overflow. All right, awesome. So we are going to be doing cupcakes. So you should also have 12 cavities lined on your cupcake liners. If you do not, go ahead and do that right now, as I will as well. We are on the move. Hope everyone is having a great night. Jaquel, Nico, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday night. And I don't think I've brought out my scooper, so I'm gonna have to grab that. Let's see. 11 or 10. And today I'm using black since we're going to be doing German chocolate cake, the design. Remember, we talk about presentation. So I'm curious to see what color liners you chose. I chose black for this design. All right, so number 1, preheat oven to 350 and prepare cupcake pans with cupcake liners. We did that. Number 2, melt your semi-sweet chocolate using the boiler or microwave method and then set aside to cool. I'm going to be using the microwave method this time. Last time when we were melting chocolate, we tried the boiler method. So I'm going to do the microwave method this time. And my chocolate is already somewhat melted. It got hot in the car. So I'm already a step it away there. So remember, if you're doing the microwave method or if you're doing the boiler method, you always want to make sure that the bowl that you're using is microwave safe. You want to do in 30-second intervals in the microwave so that you don't char your chocolate. 30-second intervals in the microwave so that you don't char your chocolate. Crystal, welcome. Turn on your oven, set your sink. Let's get going. And then obviously when you use your double boiler, it's a lot easier to not burn your chocolate. You just want to stir and stir and stir until you get it nice, smooth consistency. Brittany, thank you for joining. So I'm going to have my little rubber spatula here. And so see, just on 30 seconds of that, look how much it's already melted. Oh, look, that's all I needed. All I needed was 1 burst of 30 seconds. Isn't that crazy? So you don't want to go ahead. Remember, In baking, we can always add, but we cannot take away. So 30 seconds was just enough to just melt this 4 ounces of chocolate and get it nice and smooth like we like. So I'm kind of smashing it a little bit as I'm smoothing it out, just to incorporate the morsels to make sure it's smooth and there are no little lumps in there. Should you happen to get a lump in there, it's okay. It won't be the worst thing because this is chocolate cake, and the more chocolate, the better. But for consistency's sake, you want to make sure that you smooth it out really good. So like I said, I'm just giving it a little bit of a push. Thank you for grabbing your heart, me, Crystal. Just giving it a little push and making sure it's nice and smooth. Okay, so once you have that done, you can set that aside and move on to the next. Okay, number 2, in your medium bowl, sift together your flour, baking powder, baking soda, kosher salt, and set aside. Got my medium bowl here. And we are doing, so all of our dries. So flour here. And I always do this. I always forget to grab the sifter. It's just a habit. I'll grab my sifter this time. Okay, so flour's in. Baking powder. Right here, the fluffy one. Baking powder. Baking soda. I am making, what is that, Shinjuku? I am making German chocolate cupcakes with a coconut pecan frosting and chocolate buttercream. So if you're going to be a fly on the wall in the class tonight, I would appreciate it if you would grab your daily heart me and like the live while you're in here. Our goal is always to get to 100,000. And with your help, we can do it. All right. And our kosher salt. So we're going to sift that together, not your sugar, because we are creaming on this recipe. So I'm still going to go ahead and use my whisk. Oh, I think I threw it over there. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to whisk that up. Give myself a little space here. Okay. Next step, number 4. In a large bowl, cream your butter and sugar until light and fluffy. Okay. So I'm just going to give myself a little more room here. Okay, so go ahead and plug in your mixers. Go ahead and get your butter and sugar in there and start to cream. Okay. Jason, level up. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. So here's my butter. Go ahead and bring y'all over. Okay. So I'm going to put my butter in here. And I always like to work with the silicone spatulas because they're very flexible and pliable, and it allows you to get all of your ingredients out of the container nicely. So there's my butter, and here's my sugar. Okay, always start on low. Snow, you made it. Okay, so my butter and sugar creaming, I'm just mixing up my flour a little bit more, give it a little more of a whisk. Okay, so get that creaming going. You can increase the speed. If you need to scrape down the sides, always do that because you want everything to be fully incorporated. And after this, we are going to beat in 1 egg at a time with the vanilla and then the chocolate. So we're going to go egg 1 at a time, vanilla, and chocolate. You did your cake yesterday. I know. I tried to make it on there, but I had some personal stuff going on, so I wasn't able to make it. But I hope it turned out yummy. Okay, so my sugar and my sugar and butter looks pretty good. I'm just gonna scrape down my sides a little bit. Go ahead, cream it a little bit more, but while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and start adding my egg one at a time. And you do one at a time just to make sure that it's gonna get fully incorporated, that you're gonna break the yolk. Because again, on the mixing step, the point is to get everything incorporated and mixed in evenly so that you don't have pockets of sugar in your bakes. Well, not pockets of sugar, but pockets of different types of elements in your bake. Okay, so that's my egg, and then I'm gonna do vanilla. Okay, I'm just gonna bring up the speed so it can incorporate a little bit better there. That looks great. I hope yours is looking amazing too. And this is like already smelling good, and it's just butter, sugar, and egg. Oh, you know what it is? It's the vanilla. I'm like, why does it smell so good already? It's the vanilla. All right, so time to put in the melted chocolate. So let's go ahead and do that. And mine is nice and smooth. Okay, I'm so excited for this. Have not had a German chocolate cake in a while, and I was debating on whether or not I should have you guys do a full cake or do the cupcakes. And I really wanted to teach you the full cake method, but because of scheduling, it wasn't going to make sense for what we had to do. So here we are doing cupcakes, and we can get it all done in one class. If we were going to do a cake, it was going to take 2 classes to get it done. Okay, so my chocolate's in there. We are rocking and rolling. All right, so next you are going to gradually alternate your dry mixture and your sour cream until the wet mixture is combined. Scrape down the sides if needed and don't over mix. Okay, so by now you're a pro with your mixer. You're a pro with making cakes. So on these steps, you should be able to alternate, going back and forth. Easy peasy now at this point, so that you don't take an extended amount of time doing this, so that you're not over mixing your batter. Okay, this whole process should just take about 5 minutes. And then you can, move on to next steps of getting your batter into your liners. And this looks so good. So now I did dry mixture. Now I'm going to do some sour cream. Ooh, gotcha. And best practice is to do about a third. So whatever dry mixture you have, whatever cream or buttermilk that you're putting in, it's best practice to do it in thirds. So that means you're going to do 3 times. You're going to do those steps 3 times. Okay, so that was already one. We're going to do our second one. Making a mess here. We try not to make a mess. I've always got on some light colored shirt, I realize. But, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, start low and bring it up. I can already see I'm going to have to scrape down the sides, but I'm going to wait to the end for that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put another portion of sour cream. And then I'll have 1 round left of the flour mix and then 1 round left of the sour cream, and I'll be good to go. Make sure you're double tapping that screen if you're a fly on the wall. Oh, I didn't make my tea. I'm thirsty. We'll wait till we get our cupcakes in the oven, and then Super. Okay. So last round for the dry mixture. Okay. Dry mixture is done. We are looking good. Okay, and then I'm going to put our last little bit of sour cream. I'm good to go. Okay, I hope you guys are right along with me on this step. Okay, so there's my last little bit of sour cream. That guy, we're gonna use this fella right here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and scrape down the sides. That way we have a nice, even, blended batter. And that looks so good. Looks good enough to eat. Okay. A little bit more and we are good to go. Thank you for liking the live. We are on the road to 100K. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to give it a taste. Give that a taste. Let's see. Mouse and chocolatey. That tastes good enough to eat. Okay, next. Fill your liners. 3/4 full. So I'm gonna pull my bowl off of here to do this part. And hopefully not make too much of a mess. See if that little cup can catch that there. Try not to make too much of a mess here. And again, you're just filling your liners about 3/4 full. That'll give you a nice healthy dome on your cupcakes. If you do it less than that, they're going to be really flat. If you do it more than that, they're going to over puff and maybe even like spill over on the sides. So it's that sweet spot of 3/4 full where you get that nice dome. And if you're not sure on this particular recipe, it would be better to do a little bit less than what you think is 3/4 full because of the presentation that we're going to be putting on the top here. Okay, switch pans. Thank you for grabbing your heart meat, Danielle. Okay. And I probably can start another pan worth of what I have in here. So I'm gonna line another pan just so we can get this all baked at one time. Okay, so see, I've got two pans here. I'm gonna do one more. So this recipe should give you like 18 to 20 cupcakes. And looks like I'm gonna get about 18 out of here. Okay. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to put them in the chat and I will answer them for you. My mod's in here and can pin something if I miss it, since I'm not always looking up at the screen. And again, just really so surprised that we're already on week 7. We're done, y'all. We are done. One more week, we are good. So next week, you guys have your final presentation and can't wait to see it. You know, it's been really great, you know, seeing your homeworks, seeing your improvements, your plate presentations. Everyone's doing a great job. Okay. So it looks like I'm getting 15 out of here, out of this mixture. And that one's a little bit short. So I'm going to try to scrape this as much as I can. Try to fill that last one. Remember, food costs. Just get enough in there. All right, we're good. So I will take those out. Okay, so I've got 15. I've got 15 cavities filled on mine. So we're gonna go ahead and pop that in the oven. Let me look at the instructions. Yeah, so we are baking for 18 to 20 minutes. And you know your cupcakes are ready when your centers bounce back at you. Okay, so set the timer. Remember, we're going on the low end and we can build up. So I've got my 18 minutes there ready to go. And then we will check when our timer goes off. All right, so next step is to make our coconut pecan topping. So go ahead and change your syllabus sheets to your coconut pecan topping recipe card. I'm getting chocolate on my sheets. Hopefully you're not as messy as me. All right. I'm probably gonna have to wash some things at this point. So let's see what we're gonna need as far as materials. So a saucepan, rubber or wooden spoon, dry measuring cup, liquid measuring cup, measuring spoons, butter knife, small bowls, tasting spoons, timer, and oven mitts. So I should be pretty good on all that stuff except for my measuring spoons. Go ahead and give those a wash. I don't know about you, but I can't wait for this coconut pecan topping so I can eat it. I like to just eat it by itself. Which I know that probably sounds crazy, but it's so good like that. And you know, it's not something that you do every day, so you don't have to feel too guilty. You know, moderation. Moderation. Okay. Kind of let clean up a little bit here. Trying not to make a mess, but you know, guess I can't make any promises now, can I? Okay. Just wanted to get that chocolate in there. Anna, hey, thank you for grabbing your daily heart me. Let's get this cleaned off. We are going to be making some buttercream, so you will need your mixer again. Unless you want to switch to a hand mixer, that's your choice. Move that out the way. So, try to make room for these. I'm just getting that done so that it'll be mostly dry by the time I get to it, and you all do the same. So these guys will be mostly dry. Okay, so I'm gonna let that fill up. Can I 86 the coconut? What do you mean, can you 86 the coconut? This is a German chocolate cake. That is what German chocolate cake is. It's chocolate cake with a coconut pecan topping. So amuse me here and let me know what you're going to use instead of your coconut. What are you going to use? Because if you don't make your coconut pecan topping, it's not German chocolate cake. All right. All right. My space is clean again. Well, relatively. Okay, just the pecans. Okay, no, that's not going to be, you're not going to be able to like make the mixture and all of that without the coconut. It's not going to be the same. So if you're opting not to use the coconut, skip this whole topping step, and then you can just use like raw pecans after your chocolate buttercream. Okay, so coconut pecan topping. First up is 1 cup of sweetened shredded coconut. I'm going to do this off camera so that I don't get, you know. Where's my, let me get an extra little bowl. So I'm getting 1 cup of sweetened shredded coconut. And sweetened shredded coconut is really good on top of cereal. If you have like a bran cereal, like a flake cereal, put some sweetened shredded coconut on top. It's so good. So good. Okay, so I've got 1 cup of that. 3/4 cups of evaporated milk. And remember, when you use liquid, you use a liquid measuring cup. And I need how much? 3/4 of a cup. So that's going to be right there. Okay. Again, this has a label, so we're going to do this off camera. Okay. I'm going to pour this in here. Out of it. Okay, there we go. 3/4 of a cup. I love the way that smells. Do you guys like the way that smells? 3/4 cups of our chopped pecans. Let me get that in there. Use another bowl here. Recoat. This is a third. I need a quarter, but then that's going to be wet. So let's do, it like this. 3/4 cup. Again, off to the side. I hope everyone's doing well on this step. Thank you for liking the live. Okay. There we are. Oh, it's a little bit more than what we need. Gonna pull some out because we're gonna use these at the end. So you just need 3/4 cup. Okay, looks about right. Okay. Of pecans, 1/2 cup of the dark brown sugar. And we've got 9 minutes left on our cupcakes. We're doing good. And the recipe calls for your brown sugar to be packed. And that's so that you have a full cup of the brown sugar. When you scoop brown sugar, it's got that molasses in it, so it's not going to settle the same way that white sugar or granulated sugar would do. So always pay attention to that in your recipe when you're having brown sugar. It's either going to say packed or nothing at all. If it says nothing at all, you just scoop it out. If it says packed, you want to make sure that you're pushing it in like that. Okay? And this was how much again? 1/2 cup. Okay. All right, there's my dark brown sugar. And then we want 1/4 cup of softened butter. I know I already had over here, off to the side, 1/4 cup of softened butter. And then 3 large egg yolks and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So. Okay. So there's my extract. And then I'm gonna crack for my 3 egg yolks. I'll probably need 2 containers for this. Babe, can I see your phone? I need to take a picture. I'm gonna take a picture of my mise en place. You put it on that, okay. Perfect. No, I will. Okay. There's 1. Oh, I'm supposed to be doing an egg yolk. So let me separate that. The first one, I did it all together. I just need the yolk on this. Gonna get all of that white out of there. Can you all see that? Oh, that's a little bit off camera. But I think you guys know how to separate an egg, right? So there's 1 yolk. Gonna do a second one. Go this way. Hello. Make sure you're double tapping that screen. Okay. And a lot of times with my recipes, like if it'll say like, you know, 3 eggs plus a yolk, four eggs plus a yolk, like that, I'll have a lot of egg whites left over. So what I do is I keep a separate container like this and I fill it with my egg whites, and then that's what I have for my breakfast. I just use my leftover egg whites from baking for breakfast. So it's like food costs, waste not, want not. So I'm trying to separate, this egg from the white here with outer shell. Okay. Not mad at it. Got it. Boom, shakalaka. 3 egg yolks. Okay. And then I'm just gonna take a picture. We'll put these egg whites on the side and I'll put them in a container. And then I want to get a picture for my mise en place catalog. And it looks like I got it all on one. How's everyone doing out there? We've got 4 minutes left on our timer. Okay. So we'll get our picture here. All right. I think that's good. I think we got it. Okay. So now we can get going. So we need a medium saucepan for this. You're going to put your medium saucepan on medium heat. Going to use this guy right here. So medium heat for your saucepan. And I've got some labels over here. Let me just try to cover, and I can turn the camera. See how that goes. Let me bring this over here maybe. Kind of have everything with a label off screen. Okay. All right, so coconut pecan topping. So in a medium saucepan over medium heat, whisk together your evaporated milk, egg yolks, and dark brown sugar. Okay, so on this step, it's really important that you pay attention to the saucepan, okay? Because you're using the egg yolks, you don't want to overmix. You don't want your burner to be too high, and you don't want to really walk away for an extended amount of time. You want to give it a nice consistent whisk. Otherwise, you will scramble the eggs, okay? So make sure that you're paying attention on this part so that you don't scramble the eggs inside. So I'm going to read through all the instructions just so that you have like a mental note of what you're actually doing, and then you'll see us bouncing back and forth, because remember, we also have cupcakes in the oven. I've got 2 minutes left on mine, so we're multitasking. Okay, so number 1, in the medium saucepan over medium heat, whisk together your evaporated milk, egg yolks, and dark brown sugar. Number 2, add your butter, stir your mixture for 8 to 10 minutes until it thickens, and set your timer. Remove from heat, stir in your vanilla, coconut, and pecans. Cool to room temperature. Your compote will continue to thicken as it cools, and snap a pic. So remember, when you see your picture in there, that's because I want that part on your homework. A lot of you are missing that step, okay? When you're reading your recipe cards, when you see that camera at the end, that's because I would like a picture of what you're doing at that step, okay? And you see that little camera right there. Okay, so my saucepan is pretty warm. So I think maybe should I bring my mise en place over there? We'll see how we can do it. All right, so in our saucepan, what are we doing? Milk, egg yolks, and dark brown sugar. Okay, so there's our milk, and it's just a mild sizzle, okay? At that step, if your milk sizzles like a lot, it's too high, okay? 3 eggs. And then your dark brown sugar, okay? You do not want to scramble your eggs. Very, very important. And I should have about a minute left on my timer. Hope you all are doing great on this step. Gonna break up the sugar. And now I'm just gonna whisk. And I'm just making sure that I break each egg yolk so that we get an even mixture. Probably should have showed you beforehand. I'll just come off for a second. So there's my egg mixture, okay? It's a nice, like golden beige or a very, very light brown, okay? So we're multitasking. Now our cupcakes are ready. This is on a medium heat. So I'm just gonna pay attention and I'm gonna check my eggs really quick. I mean my eggs. I'm gonna check my cupcakes. Stop, drop, and roll. Okay, and remember on your cupcakes, you are looking for them to bounce back on the top. And I always like to look at it first. So, okay, I can tell it needs more time, and that's why I don't open the oven. So I'm going to go 2 more minutes on my cupcakes. Thank you for the follow. 2 minutes on my cupcakes to give them more time. Now I am back to whisking my milk mixture for my coconut pecan topping. Okay. And then I'm actually just gonna turn my heat up just a little bit. Okay, you don't want it to boil, just a very low heat. Okay, now we're gonna add butter and stir for 8 to 10 minutes until it gets thick. Okay, so there's my butter. And so we're gonna stir until it thickens. And so basically what's gonna happen is your butter is gonna break down. So you're gonna see it break down and it's gonna look like it's curdling, but it's not gonna curdle. Just keep mixing it up, let it break down, and you'll be fine. So what I'm doing is just mixing it, and I'm just manipulating the butter to make sure that it all breaks down. Okay. I've got less than a minute left on my timer for my cupcakes. We are multitasking. Okay. Okay. So there's our timer for our cupcakes. How's everyone doing out there? Purple hearts in the chat if you are rocking and rolling. So I think I should do 2 more minutes on my cupcake. So that puts me up to 22. And then I will continue to stir. I have the greatest confidence in you all that you can do all this at the same time, like I'm doing. Because there are a lot of detailed steps, but it's relatively easy. I know last semester we did one thing at a time. So we wanted to kick it up a notch a little bit. Okay, so you should be rocking and rolling. Okay, awesome. Love to see it. Love the purple hearts in the chat. Love to see it. So I will show you my mixture. My butter is incorporated very well. Okay, it's nice and melted. Smelling good in the hood. Okay. And so again, you want to do this for about 8 to 10 minutes. Right now we're at about the 3 to 4 minute mark. 3 to 4 minute mark. So got about 6 more minutes on this. Okay. So we'll just keep watching that while we're watching our cupcakes. I've got 45 seconds. Okay, and what we're doing is we're just gonna mix until that starts to thicken. Once it starts to thicken, you can turn your heat off, and then we can add in our vanilla, our pecans, and our coconut, and then you'll see it'll thicken much quickly. Okay, so 20 seconds. So I'll just go ahead and do some more mixing over here. Boy, I need that glass of tea right now. But I gotta wait. Gotta wait. I can smell the cupcakes now. All right, so they still look a little flat to me. Now I'll go ahead and test it. Okay. Still feel like they have a tiny bit of a bounce back. So I'm gonna go ahead 2 more minutes. So that's putting me at 24 for these guys. So that lets me know I probably could add a little bit more flour to this recipe, but we'll see how you all do with yours as well, whether or not I'm going to tweak this one. Because the key is to have a really moist cake for this recipe, because also you don't want your cake to be too dense. Because we're going to put that coconut pecan moisture on it, you want some of that evaporated milk and butter to just seep into your cake, and it's so good. So this particular cake recipe is a little bit different than the traditional chocolate that I would normally do for that reason. But again, you all are scratch bakers now, so you can take this base level recipe, and if you feel like you want to tweak it, yourselves, you can do that too. Okay, you're welcome to do that. Thank you for liking the live. We are on the road to 100K. This smells so good. And this is the butter. Butter just smells so good. Vanilla smells so good. Or it could just be the inner fatty in me. Either or. The thank you. Microphone is off. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No? No sound? Here to the phone, but not high quality. Let's see. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. Yes. All right. Boom shakalaka. We're back. All right. Woo! Just in time. Look at just in that few seconds changing the microphone. This thickened a lot more. So again, we want to make sure we do not scramble these eggs, or else we'll have to scrap this and start all over. Okay. And then the timer was going off for the cupcakes. So I'm just going to reduce the heat on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and take out the cupcakes. That way we don't burn the cupcakes. Smells like chocolate in here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and test those with a toothpick just to be sure, but smells amazing. Okay, awesome. Toothpick came out clean. Look, I'm multitasking, mixing my mixture a little bit more, and then I will show you all my clean pick. I'll just use another usable pan. Okay, so look at that. Yummy, yummy. Always test the center. Clean. We're ready to go. Smells so good. Can you smell that? Can you smell it? Can you smell it? All right. So we can get that to cool. And I would say just a couple more minutes on the topping. You can see it's starting to thicken. Smells good. Yes, Daniel. Are you ready? Are you ready for your cupcake? All right, so I'm going to let that cook another couple of minutes, and then we will we'll turn that off and get to the next step on that. And then we will head on to our buttercream. So I am done with baking, so I can go ahead and turn off the oven. You do the same if you are along this step with me. And then I need to pull out my cooling rack so that cupcakes can start to cool. Okay. Pull out this guy. Cupcakes can start to cool. Are you all celebrating the 4th this Friday? You know, we celebrated Juneteenth. We had a wonderful time. Oh. Are we celebrating the 4th as well? Okay. Got that rack set up. All right. I feel like I want this to be a little bit thicker. I know it's gonna thicken once I turn it off. Yeah, okay. Let's not overdo it, Mercy. Let's not overdo it. Okay, we're gonna stop there. So it is nice and thick. Okay, nice and thick. So bringing you over here with me. Try not to burn myself here. Okay. All right, so remove from heat. We're on step number 3. Remove from heat and stir in vanilla, coconut, and pecans. Okay, so I'm going to start with my vanilla. I hope you guys can see. Maybe I can turn this down just a little bit. Oh, look, they're giving me a puzzle. Oh, boom shakalaka. I got it on the first try. All right, usually it takes me about 3 or 4 times. Okay, so I'm going to slowly stir in my vanilla. That smells amazing. Daniel has smell-o-vision, so I know he can smell that. We are going to stir in our coconuts. And at this stage, I'm going to switch from a whisk to a flat spatula so that the pecans don't get all stuck in there. Oh, and I used both of them already. All right. This is why you clean as you go. Okay, we'll make it quick. We'll make it quick. Okay, boom. So I'm switching to, yes, Daniel. Boom, chakalaka. I'm switching to the flat spatula. That way the pecans don't get stuck in my whisk. Okay, so you see how I'm constantly stirring and slowly adding in here. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. Do you guys know what brittle is? Like almond brittle, pecan brittle? I know you do. So growing up, my mom would always make an almond brittle. It would smell so good. And this reminds me of what it smells like right now. I don't have that recipe from her, not yet. I will get it. but the process is very similar. So she would make her almond brittle, and then once it gets to this step, we would have, the marble countertop. So she would take the pot and she would just pour this mixture on just straight onto the counter. And then she used, the back of a spoon or a spatula, and she would smooth it out. And then the coolness from the counter, would let it start to set, and the air would let it start to set, and it would, get firm. And then she'd take the back of her spoon and start, tapping on it, and it would just crack. And then she'd put that brittle in a bowl, and, we'd have it for whatever. And it would smell so good. It would taste so good. I would take little bags of it to school, and, like recess or lunch or whatever, would just snack on it. And then when when it was done, like more. And it was just so good, so sweet. And yeah, my mom did everything from scratch. So baking, cooking, sauces, you name it, like all of that from scratch. So here we are. All right, so as I'm talking, as you saw, I got my coconuts in there. And so look at that mixture. It smells amazing, a nice sugary, buttery smell. You see it's nice and thick. That liquid consistency is pretty much no more. So we're just making sure that we have it nice and incorporated evenly. And so at this phase, you would typically go ahead and take this, let it cool down for an hour or so, and then you can put it into the refrigerator, let it chill overnight. I put that note for your tips, just, for the future when you plan on making this recipe. But, of course, for class sake, we've got to fast track the stuff. And I thought about, I can, like do it ahead of time. And how like they do on those cooking shows, they're showing you something and then boom, they pull another tray and it's done. I thought about doing that, but pecans are expensive. You guys know that. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. We're just going to fast track this bad boy. So I'm going to take some of this and put it in the freezer. That way it'll be cold by the time we need to get to that step for piping. And then I'll take the rest of it and put it to cool. Probably should use another. I have more glass bowls somewhere, but I don't see them. Oh, right here. No, not those. I had another stack. Did I use all those little bowls? It's okay. I'll just put a little more in here. Just didn't want it to burn. Just use that one. So we're going to put this in the freezer. That way it can cool. And then we will move on to our buttercream. How y'all doing out there? All right. Got that. Nice. All right. Burner's off. Oven is off. Turn the light off. All right. So I'm going to pop one in the fridge and one in the freezer, so we can start the cooling process. While I'm in there, I'm going to grab my tea. Try not to let the label show. Okay, and at that stage, you're going to snap a pic, okay? You see that on your recipe card. Snap a pic so that I can see how your coconut pecan topping came out, okay? Looks so good, right? It looks so good. Oh, I should have showed you guys on camera, huh? Trying to do all this stuff with no labels here. Okay, so there it is right there. Look, it's already firm. You see that? Like, it's already firm. Smells amazing. Okay, so that's in the freezer. So we will be ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and transfer my cupcakes to the cooling rack. so that they also will be cool when it's time for piping. Okay, we got rocking and rolling here. Hope y'all are doing all right out there. Oh, I almost spilled my tea. Almost spilled my tea. Over there. Okay, one more. Yeah, talk a lot, I get thirsty. You want a bite? Daniel, take a bite. Take a bite. All right. So we're just getting all these on here so that they can cool and be ready for piping. Okay. We got a lot of dishes tonight. I was so happy last week. I just had about 4 dishes. I was so happy. But here we are. Okay. So there are our chocolate cupcakes cooling. I'm going to transfer them carefully. Let me get some off the edge. I'm just going to transfer them so that they can move, get out the way, so that we can move on to our buttercream. Okay. Slowly, carefully. Boom, got it. All right, turn your dishwasher as our friend. Yes, it is. You know, I'm also at the point in life where I will not buy a utensil, not a nothing that you cannot put in the dishwasher. Are you guys like that? Let me know in the chat. Because I'm like, everything that I pick up, I'm turning it over. I'm like, can this go in the dishwasher? I'm not trying to be washing all the dishes like that. Especially when you're making all that stuff from scratch, right? You're just like, something's got to be quick, something. Okay, so cupcakes done, pecan topping done. Now let's move on to our buttercream. All right. Okay, so again, I'll be doing all this off camera so that I don't get a vial for the labels. So moving everything over here. And hopefully when I turn to the mixer, you guys can't see that either. I'm gonna take a little pecan. Okay, 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. Getting our mise en place together. 1.5 cup of powdered sugar. That. I have something in the dishwasher. Like, what can I put this in? Oh, and I'm gonna have to wash my bowl. Should probably do that first. Should probably wash my bowl first. So we're gonna have to mix this in the bowl. How y'all doing out there? Let me just get this washed really quickly. And so if you notice, your techniques have been centered a lot on cake. So you've got a nice vanilla cake recipe that you can build off of. Now you have a chocolate cake recipe that you can build off of. And those are staples, right? So you can use the vanilla, you can use the chocolate, and then if you want to do marble, you just simply take your chocolate and vanilla. I just got water on myself. The marble, you can take the chocolate and vanilla and put them together. And when you put it in your cake pan or your cupcake pan, you just alternate. You just alternate scoops. So say if you're going to do marble cupcakes, you would take like you can take like a tablespoon, like measuring spoon, a tablespoon measuring spoon, do 1 scoop of chocolate cake into your liner, and then, another 1 tablespoon and do vanilla cake into the liner. And then you just, kind of build like a zipper and alternate until you get to that 3/4 level. And then you can take a toothpick, a cake tester, or a fork, and then go ahead and get that nice swirl on the top. And then you would do the same thing for if you're doing a cake. So whether it's 6-inch, 8-inch, 10, right? Same difference. So maybe take a cup, a 1/4 cup, measuring cup, put some vanilla cake in your cake pan, take that 1/4 cup, so you're evenly building that zipper. And then when you get to the end, fork it on the top for that swirl. And that's how you make marble cake. Vanilla cake, chocolate cake, swirl it up. Okay. Okay, so now that can dry. 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. We're on to the chocolate buttercream. Just gonna open my sugar here off camera. Does anyone have neighbors that are already popping fireworks? So probably for the past couple of weeks, my neighbors have been popping fireworks. I'm like, guys, not even the 4th yet. They've been popping fireworks, and my dog is so scared. She is so scared. I was literally Googling last night, and she was shaking so bad. I'm like, I don't want her to have a heart attack. She was so scared. She, jumped in my lap. She didn't want to leave my lap. Thankfully, by the time it was bedtime, it had been about an hour or so that they had stopped doing it. So she was like relaxed and she was able to go to sleep in her kennel. But I'm like, I felt so bad. And she's 5. So yes, we go through this every year. Okay, so 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. I'm like, poor baby. And then my daughter's dog, not scared at all. She's just oblivious. She's just running around, enjoying herself. No problem. Did not give a care about the fireworks. I'm like, it's crazy how like they're completely different on their personalities. They're like night and day. It's so cute. She could care less about those fireworks popping. Okay, so I'm gonna do 1/2 cup of 1/2 cup of butter, softened butter. Doing this off camera. Let me try here. Trying not to make a mess at the same time. So I'm like, yeah, like why are we weeks out, popping fireworks? Like I don't understand why that happens. What's the point, Okay. So there's my butter, 1/3 cup of cocoa powder. And I just saw my 1/3 cup. Oh, I just used it. Moving everything around. 1/3 cup of cocoa powder. Thank you for the follow, big sis. Thank you all for liking the live. 53,000. Boom shakalaka. We are halfway there. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Okay. Trying to get my cocoa here. There we go. Third cup. Cocoa powder. 2 to 3 tablespoons of buttermilk. And that's tablespoons, not teaspoons. And that's so we can see how to, we have it too thick or too thin. We are going to use, oh, I pulled out heavy whipping cream. So I've got heavy whipping cream for this step, but either or will work. Whether you use buttermilk or heavy whipping cream, both will work. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons into my little bowl here. Okay, I've got that. And then I'm gonna pop that back in the fridge real quick. Okay, and then I need half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. There we go, half a teaspoon of the vanilla. We just used all our little bowls today. Usually I have a whole stack that I can pull from. But that's because we have 3 recipe cards, so we're doing a lot. We are doing a lot. Okay, so this is going to be half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And try to do that. Okay, half a teaspoon. And then just a pinch of kosher salt. Just a pinch. Okay, so I'll put this whole thing here. I'm not going to use it. We'll use a pinch when we get to that step. Okay, so our mise en place is ready for our chocolate buttercream. I'm going to grab the camera for the catalog and then we'll be good to go. How y'all doing? Oh. I need camera again for a picture. A quick pic. Snap a pic. Grazie, grazie. Okay. So I decided to make a full catalog for our mise en place. So trying to get these done. All right, I think I got it. Yep, looks good. Okay. All right. So step one, in a large bowl, beat the butter, vanilla, and salt at medium speed until smooth. Just gonna make sure my bowl is dry. Okay. And before I do this step, actually, let me check the temperature on the cupcake just to make sure it's pretty warm. Or not pretty warm. It's coming down. Thinking maybe if I should pop a couple of those in there to cool. I'll just put a few. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting a few in here to cool. Just to make sure we are ready to go. Okay. Double tap that screen. Don't forget to grab your daily heart me. Okay, so a large bowl beats the butter, vanilla, and salt. Remove this label. Okay, Noni. I will see your work on Sunday. All right. There's the butter. Butter, vanilla, and salt. Vanilla. And then that little pinch of salt we were talking about. Just a pinch. Pinch. Oh, that's a big pinch. I'm gonna release some of that. We don't want the buttercream to be salty. Okay, so just a pinch. Okay. So butter, vanilla, salt, medium speed until smooth. So we just want to smooth out that butter. Why do I still feel like I have something in the oven? I don't know. Maybe because it just smells like chocolate and sugar in here right now. I just feel like I have something in the oven. Okay. Step 2. In a medium bowl, sift together your powdered sugar and cocoa powder. So while that's smoothing, I have my powdered sugar here. So I'm going to add, oh, I guess it should already be in the bowl, huh? I'll do it this way. All right. Can y'all see that? Yes. Okay. So powdered sugar and cocoa powder. Let's see. Sit that in there. Okay. And then on a low speed, so we're going to turn that down, we're going to add the dry mixture in 1 cup at a time. I'm sorry, half a cup at a time, and then scrape as needed. And this step was really crucial because with the cocoa powder, it usually has a lot of clumps in it. And that's why you'll see, look at all the clumps from the cocoa powder. And that's why you'll see a step to add water sometimes when you're doing a chocolate cake, so that all of that gets broken up. Okay. And so now my powdered sugar and cocoa powder, that's beautiful. It looks like sand, kind of like Dubai sand. So I've got that incorporated. So we are going to add that half a cup at a time. Half a cup at a time. Butter, vanilla, salt, or smooth. That's about half a cup right there. Go ahead and smooth it in. Okay, and of course you're going to need to scrape on this for sure. I'm using a beater attachment. You can definitely use a paddle on this step. When you do your buttercream, you can use a paddle. Okay. Do another half a cup. And then repeat until your bowl is empty and you get all of your mixture in there. Looks like I'll just do this maybe 2 more times. And this is not a full recipe. This is just for this project to be paired, you know, with a dozen and a half or so of cupcakes. Let's go ahead, put another half a cup in there. Definitely gonna need to scrape that down, but I'm gonna wait to the end. And this is still smooth, it's starting to thicken. That's exactly what you want to see at this step. Just the chocolate incorporating in with the butter. And just go ahead and get that in there. Let's see if I can do it without making a mess. Okay. I think we got it. Okay. So we'll scrape down the sides and then we'll incorporate a little bit of our heavy cream or buttermilk, whichever one you chose. And really, like, the difference between your buttermilk and your heavy cream is your fat content. So check your labels on that, and that, you know, can also be your preference on what you're using for this recipe too. But I thought it would be, you know, just a good idea to give you the option to decide which one you like better, or, you know, fiscally speaking, you may have already had some heavy cream from previous class, and then that way you all didn't have to go out and buy something else. Looking good. Not bad, Nicholas. Not bad. You guys know where that's from? It's nice and chocolatey. This is very chocolatey, and actually for me, it's pretty thin. So I'm going to be, I'm actually probably not even going to use my heavy cream, and I'm going to add some more sugar. Because look at, when I pick this up, it's pretty thin. See that? So your heavy cream is going to decide if you need to thin out your buttercream or not. This one I don't, because I used one with a high water content, so it's a lot thinner. So I'm just going to go ahead and just add some more powdered sugar. And remember, that's the trick to thickening your buttercream, is to add sugar, right? Add sugar if it's thinner than what you desire. Add your heavy cream if it's thicker than what you desire. So I'll just watch this and manipulate that. But fun fact, if you use the imperial butter, that one has a high fat content, it should be spot on. With this recipe, I used the last of my imperial in my pecan topping, so I'm using a different brand. So, you know, the fat content is different, and that's why that happens. Thank you for the roses. Okay, so let's add some more. So right now I'm just thickening, okay? And so this is where you have your instruction, number 5, what to do if it's too thick, what to do if it's too thin. Again, it all depends on the type of butter that you're using, okay? And then once you get your buttercream to its desired Consistency, because again, we're going to be piping this onto the cupcake, so it should be relatively thick. So once you get it to the thickness that you need, where you know it's going to be stable and sit firmly in your piping bag, once you get it to that consistency, snap a pic, okay? Because then that will be another part of your homework. And I'm adding a decent amount of sugar in here, actually. So I think I've added about 2 cups more than what the recipe calls for to thicken my buttercream based upon the butter that I used. And now you can see that. See, now it has, see that shape right there? Can someone tell me what that's called? Do you guys remember? I'm going to try to do this without making a mess if I can. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. What is that called right there? Who can tell me? I'm mixing my buttercream. It was really, really thin. Now it's not. What is that? Yes, Miss Nisi, but you're missing what kind of peak? What kind of peak is this? Awesome. Great job. Awesome, awesome. Let's get that back on there before I make a big old mess. What kind of peaks, Miss Nisi? Even got it on here. Because this is what I'm looking for my, to dress my cupcakes. Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Okay. I like that. I like where that's at. I feel like I might go just a tad more. Then I'm going to get my tasting spoon and taste it. Let me know what kind of peaks. What kind of peaks? Yes. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. Okay, I'm just going to add a tiny bit of sugar. I probably don't need to, but I'm going to. I'm just going to add a tiny bit. Just like 1/8 of a cup. Just so that can thicken just a little bit. Just a little bit. Probably not even. Yeah, that's like 1/8 of a cup. You know what you want. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hi, my name is Mercy, and I'm a chocoholic. All right, so a little bit more sugar in here, and we are ready to start building. So let me look at your recipe card. Okay, yes, boom. So once we get it to where we want it, snap a pic. We got your camera in there. And then number 7, decorate cupcakes using well piping techniques and top with coconut pecan topping. Play for presentation and enjoy. All right. Okay, yes, perfect. Look at that. You see that? That's how yours should look on your mixer when you're done, okay? And this is the phase where you would snap a pic. Okay. I'll just leave that hanging on there. That's fine. Move this out the way here. I'll leave this tray. Okay. So now we are ready to build, and I'm going to show you all the well technique for this presentation, right? Because now you're a pro, you know how to make cupcakes. You've got a decent arsenal of recipes to let your creativity go wild. And I'm just going to show you another technique to elevate that as well. And these pecans are calling me, so I'm going to take one. Okay. So now we're going to grab our cupcakes. Boom, shakalaka. We are going to grab our coconut pecan filling that we have chilled. Okay. Nice and chill. Look at that frost. Okay. And then we are going to put our buttercream into a bag. Well, that probably doesn't sound good with that microphone right there. My apologies. It's the sugar. The sugar's making me a little crazy. All right. So I'm looking for my Wilton 1M. There we are, Wilton 1M. Cut off a little bit more. You all know how to fill a piping bag. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna put my chocolate buttercream into the bag. Try here. So. Okay. It's probably enough. It's not all of it, but it's probably enough. I think I'll do 6 cupcakes. I guess I got 3 right here. I'll do 6 of these bad boys. Okay. That keeps falling in there. So we're going to stick with this. All right. So got my piping bag full. Now I've got my cupcakes and I have my coconut pecan topping. Okay, so let's not forget at this phase, we should have snapped a pic of your cupcakes by themselves, okay, with nothing on them. A picture of your coconut pecan topping by itself, and then a picture of your chocolate buttercream in the bowl by itself. Okay, so now to build, what you're going to do is a well technique. And all that is you're using your Wilton 1M tip, and all you're going to do is pipe a circle around the perimeter of the cupcake. It's very simple, and you are creating a well. Okay, so just use that just in a circle, just like that. That's all you need to do. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do 3 of these, and like I said, I'm going to grab a few more. You can do 6. Okay, so you're literally just piping the perimeter of the cupcake and you're making a well. Okay, you want to use the Wilton 1M for this presentation because the definition of this tip is going to make your well look nice and pretty. It's not going to make it, just look like you just slopped it on there. Okay, so make sure you use this tip on this step. So Just a circle around the perimeter. Nice and easy, but it looks beautiful. Remember, everyone eats with their eyes. Presentation is everything, right? Okay. So now I've gotten 6 cupcakes done with the well technique. That took 10 seconds, okay? 10 seconds of something that can elevate your cupcake. Nice and easy, okay? Then you're gonna take your coconut pecan topping and you're gonna put about a tablespoon of mixture just right into the center of your cupcake, okay? This is a teaspoon, but you can use about a tablespoon. But I'm using the teaspoon just so that I don't make that much of a mess, okay? And that's going right there in the center, okay? Do we see that? Put that nice in the center. It looks nice and clean, very elevated presentation, okay? Right there in the center of the well. How easy is that? Okay? It's kind of like a little bird's nest in a way. Yeah, see, I'm taking two teaspoons worth. So you guys use a tablespoon, but if you want to do it like this, if you want to use a teaspoon, like I said, I'm just making sure that the presentation is where it needs to be. Okay, lovely, lovely. And you've got enough mixture. Like I said, you should have, about 1.5 dozen of the cupcakes. Okay, so now I've got my coconut pecan topping inside. Beautiful, look at that. Okay, you can stop there if you like, or you can kick it up another little notch and you can add some pecans to your well. I would prefer, like these, pecans are chopped. I would prefer them to be a little more chopped for this presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and chop these a little bit. If you have whole pecans, you can definitely like take a whole one and sit it on the top like that. And that can finish out your presentation. So you can take a whole pecan and sit it in the center there. Or you can take some chopped pecans. Like I said, I'm going to crush this a little bit smaller and then show you that. And then you can use that method too. So let's do that because I like it to be really fine. And then you're also thinking about when someone's going to take a bite, right? Like you want it to be pleasant. You don't want this whole chunk of like nuts going in there. So I'm going to chop this up a little bit. And I'm going to use that mallet. Okay. Hopefully I don't make too much of a mess here. So I just want to chop these up a bit. Oh, that's a good one. That's a little bit bigger. So if you want to, well, this is almost whole, but you see what I'm trying to do? If you wanted to take a whole one and sit it on there like that, you could. I'm just going to chop these up a little bit more. I was going to bang it, but since I have this microphone, that's probably not going to be pleasant. So we'll just do a little quiet smash here. Hulk smash. I'm a Marvel head. Do you guys like Marvel? I just watched Ironheart. It was so good. They just dropped 3 episodes on Disney Plus if you're interested. Okay. All right, so now I've got the pecans crushed a little bit more. So again, you know, just thinking about someone taking a bite, you want it to be, you know, a pleasant, enjoyable bite. You don't want this big old pecan, right? So I just took, you know, what was sold as chopped pecan in the store, and I just made it more fine. Okay, so when you buy a chopped pecan, it's going to come out like this, which is pretty decent, and that's how we use this consistency for our topping. But now that we're going to do a garnish for the cupcake, I just went ahead and chopped it a little bit further so that it's more pleasant of a bite. Okay, so you see the difference in that? That's all you got to do, nice and simple. So now I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to add it to the well part of my cupcake. And then that's just going to give it a little more texture, a little more dimension. Okay, look at that. Now that's a gourmet cupcake. So you see the difference? All right. Okay, so I'll show you side by side. Okay, look at that. Just tiny little tweaks elevates the presentation. Doesn't take all night. Okay, so just add it to your well. Okay, so I will go ahead and do all those, and I'm carefully trying not to disturb the well on the cupcakes when I'm picking them up. That looks amazing. Alrighty. And again, if you don't, you know, want to add this step, then more power to you. Here's just a new technique that you can use. And of course, you know, beyond this recipe. And then I'm going to get my plate for presentation. So once you have your cupcakes done, then same thing, plate and snap a pic. I will grab my plate. How can the buttercream be more of a chocolate fudge icing? What do you mean? How can the buttercream be more of a chocolate fudge icing? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. This ratio of like butter and cocoa powder, this is a very, very highly concentrated chocolate buttercream. So I'm not really sure what you mean by that. If you can elaborate a little more on that question. While I'm over here trying to grab my plate. I have 2 plates stuck together, so just trying to get them apart here. Okay. It looks more like milk chocolate icing. How can the buttercream be more of a chocolate fudge? So are you saying like you want it to be darker in color? Is that what you mean? Because you can add more, you can definitely add more cocoa powder to it and the color will darken. As far as like the flavor, this is very rich. So you can definitely add more cocoa powder to the recipe and that will darken the color. You can also, okay, yes, okay. And then you can also make your buttercream and let it sit. So instead of like the day of, you can make your buttercream the day before, and then it'll deepen the color as well. So if it's like the color that you're looking for, as opposed to the taste. It will darken in color. I'm going to take that one off of there. Yum, yum. Okay. And there's our presentation. You're welcome. Look at that. Boom, shakalaka. So there you have it. Your German chocolate cupcakes with a coconut pecan topping and chocolate buttercream. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, Gabby. Beautiful. All right. Awesome. So that concludes our class tonight. So again, I will remind you for homework, you're going to email me a picture of your cupcakes by themselves without anything, a picture of your coconut pecan topping by itself, a picture of your chocolate buttercream, and then a picture of your fully built cupcake. So 4 pictures, guys, okay? 4 pictures. That's what I'm looking for your homework. Make sure you take that step and care into your plate presentation, okay? And look, I'm getting a restriction. Well, joke's on you, TikTok. This class is over. All right, so that's what I'm expecting on an email. And there we have it. For your final, next week is the final. You all will be doing a bake of your choice. You will see homework email coming in for that. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat. Otherwise, have a great night.